Good morning, good morning, good morning. Nobody's in here, but that's okay because you know me. I'm just going to talk to myself while I enjoy my cup of coffee until somebody feels like they want to pop in and say hello. It's been a long time since I've scheduled a live, so I did not expect many to show up because I've kind of gotten out of the swing of things. I used to do them on Wednesday mornings. Maybe I'll get back to that again now that winter's here. However, I do have an important engagement every Wednesday morning now for the next 2 months. I might have to switch it to Thursdays. We'll see. So I'm just waiting to see. Oh, I see somebody's joined us. Good morning. I don't know who's with me. Grab a cup of coffee. I'm just going to sit and talk a little bit about what I've been up to lately. I haven't been putting a lot of homesteading or farmhouse kitchen or crocheting content out lately because I've kind of changed my focus a little bit. I've been doing some other things, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Give those of you who have been following on Instagram or Facebook a little bit of an update, and even on YouTube, because I've been posting shorts almost every day, but not every day, about kind of what I've been up to. So first obvious thing is, where did the pink hair go? I cut the pink hair off. I didn't actually cut it off. It started a process before I even did that. You know, I love my pink hair. And I love putting it in my rollers and getting that, 1940s look. I mean, that was my whole thing. I love it. And I was planning a trip back in May to fly out to my grandson's graduation. Very excited. I was really excited to go see him. And, it's kind of a big step going from California to Iowa and then being here 10 years, then going back to California. A lot has changed. And, I know everybody in my family are like, yeah, we love your pink hair. We love you for who you are. But I didn't want to go into that situation with this flaming bright pink hair, like in the stands at my grandson's graduation, hooping it up. And who's that? Oh, that's my grandma. Your grandma has pink hair. Yeah, I know. So I went to the salon and I had my hair done in my husband's favorite two colors. He loves it when I get black in front and then copper penny red, and I get a cute little A-line bob. So I went and I did that, and that's what I wore when I went out to California. I had two of you in here. Now I've lost you. That's okay. I'm just going to ramble. I hope you at least hit the thumbs up before you left. Speaking of, let's see if I can find a banner to put up. What is a banner? I don't even have any banners. Let's put one up. Welcome. Be sure to smash that thumb. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's do that. I have it scroll. We're going to add it. There we go. Yeah, look, now it says everybody hit the thumbs up. So I had my hair done. I went to my grandson's graduation. I felt very good about not being the weird old lady with the pink hair. And then it started growing out, and I didn't do anything with it. And you can see I've got this like Cruella de Vil thing starting to go on here. When I had my chemotherapy, my hair came back prematurely gray. So, and there's no fixing it other than dyeing it every, 4 to 6 weeks. And so the time had come for me to color it, and I didn't color it, and I didn't color it, and I didn't color it, and it started growing out. I have no natural body in my hair, so it was just kind of like hanging. And then in August, I honestly don't even remember what happened that got me thinking, oh, I know what it was. I know what it was. In July, I was up late one night, and I was scrolling through Facebook, and a video caught my attention. And so I clicked on the video. Well, then the very next video, you know how it just says next video and the next one pops up. Well, about the third video in, as I'm sitting there with insomnia, was a clip from my 600-pound life. And, it's kind of like when you watch an episode of Hoarders, and then you're like, oh, I got to clean my house because I can't let my house get like Hoarders like you see on TV. So I'm watching this episode of my 600-pound life, and The person who the story is about, they're absolutely miserable and they're really struggling physically. And I started relating to some of the things they were going through. Not that I was near 600 pounds, but I was at my heaviest. And I started thinking, if I don't stop the path I'm on, I'm going to have problems like they are, because the older I get, the harder it's going to be. So I weighed myself and I was kind of shocked where I was at. Again, it was the heaviest I'd been. And then I watched another episode with another person who was on 600-pound life. And then another episode. And the more I watched, the more I kept telling myself, I need to make sure I don't do this to myself. And then one came on and there was this woman on there and she had already started her weight loss journey. And she was still a very large woman. Like she had to turn sideways to go through doors. She couldn't fit in the front seat of her car. She waddled horribly when she walked. She was just a mess. And she went in for one of her sessions with the doctor from that show. And she hopped on the scale. She was only 50 pounds more than I was. And that was a huge eye-opener for me. It's like, my God, she's only 50 pounds different. And I know one more cinnamon roll and one more bowl of ice cream and another bag of Oreos, you know, those are going to start adding up and I'm going to be looking like her. And I can't have that. I can't do that to my husband. I can't do that to my family. I can't do that to myself. So this was probably, you know, last week in July when I'm seeing all this. And I told myself, August 1st is when it ends. I had my last Oreo. I had my last milkshake. Went out, got something to eat, had a pizza. I did it all, you know, because I knew come August 1, I was going to be making some serious changes in my lifestyle. So sure enough, August 1 comes around and I had been putting it out there on social media that I was going to be doing something with regards to trying to get healthy again. And my neighbor private messaged me and she goes, you know, I need somebody to be accountable to. Let's get together once a week and let's do something. Let's walk, or we can do it twice a week. One week I'll come to your place. The next week you can come to my place and we'll walk or we'll exercise or we'll do something to be accountable. And I said, that sounds really good. Let's do that. So, you know, you guys know how it is when you think one way about yourself, but then you either see a video or see a picture and you see the reality of something. Me, I'm thinking, I got this. I'm going to put my walking shoes on. We're going to walk. I'm going to be great. And everything's going to be fine. So she came over. And I will be quite honest with you and share with you that at that stage, I couldn't even put socks on. I could not bend over and put socks on my feet because I had allowed myself to get so fat. So we're going to go walking, but I can't get socks on. So I just slipped on a pair of just slide on Skechers. And I said, I'm just going to wear these. And she was like, okay. You know, she's got her walking outfit on and her Hoka shoes and she's ready to go. I said, yeah, I'm just going to wear these. They'll be fine. They're Skechers. So we go out on our walk and I'm hobbling. I can feel every rock through the bottom of my shoe. I don't have any socks on. It's miserable. But I'm going. I'm putting on that face like, you know, I got this, but really I didn't. I'm blowing through pursed lips and we haven't even made it out of the driveway. So the goal is to get to the stop sign and back, which I thought was a half a mile there and a half a mile back. Thought we would walk about 1 mile. We got to that stop sign. She's like, are you okay? Because like she's afraid I'm going to have a heart attack and die. I'm like, oh no, I'm good. I'm good. I just have asthma. It's fine. Didn't have my inhaler with me. But she was kind. She didn't say a lot other than just show genuine concern. Well, I knew right then and there I better do something different with my shoes. So I got out a pair of shoes that I had in my tornado kit. I have a tornado grab bag right next to the head of the bed. Because if we have a tornado in the middle of the night, I'm going to grab that bag and take it with me down into the basement. And I had a pair of sturdy shoes in there because you don't want to be caught in a tornado with no shoes. So I took those out of my emergency bag and I huffed and puffed. And first I wore them without socks because I still couldn't put socks on. And we would get together for our weekly walk. And I'd have to stop 2-3 times during our walk and take my shoes off and take the pebbles out because I'd get pebbles in there. I don't know why. I'd always have to take the shoes off. And she's like, man, you're not wearing socks. Like, I know. I know. Like, I know what I'm doing, but I didn't. But I got to the stage where finally one day I could get socks on. It was a struggle. I thought I was going to vomit, having to bend over and actually force myself to get socks on. And it wasn't graceful by any means. It's like try to catch it with just your toe and pull it up over your foot. Hit your inhaler a couple times. But I got socks on. And then I got the shoes on. And the shoes, I couldn't even tie the shoes. The shoes were the type of shoes that have those elastic laces. So I could just tug on those and tighten those up. Those are the shoes my grandma used to wear. And here I am. I'm not 60. I'm only in my 50s still, and I'm wearing grandma shoes. But I wore them faithfully every time we went walking or anytime I went walking by myself or anytime. And I started really getting into this. It's like, I've got to do something. So all of August, I struggled to find something to do. I did chair yoga. I did some of my cardio drumming. I did some walking. I tried different things to try to lose. Well, I shouldn't say lose weight. I tried to find that niche of how I was going to exercise to get healthy again. And I just struggled all of August to do that. And then one day while I don't know where I was. I don't know what social media platform I was on. But I'm hoping somebody will pop in and start talking to me so I don't have to just keep talking to myself. But somebody had posted about a 30-day walking challenge. And, I know what it was. I just came across a video. I was looking for videos to work out to, and I saw on YouTube a woman had posted a video that she had walked for 30 minutes for 30 days, I think it was. And I watched her video, and she had some pretty good results. And I thought, that's something I can do. I can do that. So come September 1, I got my shoes laced up every day, and I went out into the world and found places to walk. I didn't just go out my front door and walk the same path every day. I found new places every day. And sometimes I was driving 20 plus miles just to find a lovely park to walk, or I would walk around a lake. I wasn't keeping it mundane and the same thing every day. I was out there every day doing something different. And about this time I had a doctor's appointment partway through September. And I had gone in for my doctor's appointment. I lost 3 pounds to start with. And then I think I lost another 4 pounds. So I was down 7 pounds. And he said, whatever you're doing, keep it up because it's good. You need to do this. So I'm walking and I showed him, I said, my feet hurt though when I walk. And so we took a look at my feet. And for those of you that don't know, about 2 years ago, I think it is, I was diagnosed as type 2 diabetic. And now my feet hurt. And sure enough, on the bottom of my feet, I had sores on the bottom of my feet, which, if you get a blister on your foot or a callus on your foot or whatever, it heals up, you continue on. As a diabetic, I couldn't afford to have these sores on the bottom of my feet because if they got infected, that could be very, very detrimental to me. It could mean losing a foot or worse. So I said, what do I do? He goes, your shoes are too tight. You need different shoes. Because what was happening is I was wearing Dr. Scholl's ladies' wide shoes because I thought that's the best option for me when I bought them. And they were pinching the toe box. They were pinching my toes, and the toes were crossing over each other and pinching and rubbing on each other while I'm walking. He says, you just need better shoes. So to back up a little bit and to tell you about this 30-day walking challenge that I did, I've got it right here. Let me show you what I've got. Here's my 30-day walking challenge calendar. Do you see that? I made myself accountable to marking off my walks every single day for the month of September. And the ones that are circled are days that I walked more than 10,000 steps. Now, when I first started this, I had friends say, you're going to hit 10,000 steps easy. Not a problem. These were not 10,000 steps throughout the entire day. These are designated out the door, walking shoes on, walking for my health steps. I didn't count anything else. I only counted those designated purposeful walks. But I had expressed to my friend when I first got ready to do this, I said, I don't know if I should do 30 minutes a day. I don't know if I should do a certain number of steps a day. I said, I think I'm going to try to do 10,000 steps a day because, again, I'm completely oblivious to how out of shape I was. I'm going to put it up here and show you. This is in the yellow dress. That's the before. And then at the gym, the picture there at the gym, that was just on yesterday. I don't even know what day I'm on anymore. That was yesterday. So you can see I've been working pretty darn hard. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to walk 10,000 steps a day. My friend, who's the much more sensible one, and she's not impulsive at all like I am, she says, you might want to rethink that because 10,000 steps for a walk is a lot. And you need to work your way up to that. Now, remember, I couldn't even make it to the stop sign and back without my other friend thinking that I was going to have a heart attack and die. And here I'm just saying, I'm going to go walk 10,000 steps. So my friend came up with the best idea. And if you're thinking about starting any type of walking program, I really highly recommend this because I'm glad I did it this way. My friend said, why don't you take the first week of the month and just do a 4,000 step walk? Just 4,000. She goes, you should be able to attain 4,000. And she goes, and then the next week, graduate up to 6,000. And then the next week, graduate up to 8,000. And then for the final week of the month, you can really shoot for attaining that 10,000 steps a day. And at first I thought it was a wimpy idea, but boy, am I glad she suggested it to me because it really was the best thing for me. Because anybody can walk. I shouldn't say it that way. If you choose a 30-minute each day walk, that's perfectly fine. But I know for me, I would probably lollygag and take pictures. And then when the timer went off for 30 minutes, I'd be like, okay, I'm done. Oh, only 1,247 steps. Okay, well, I'm done. No, I needed that milestone every day to reach. So I did. I started with 4,000 steps every day for the first week. And I remember my very first walk of that month. I went to a local park and I had to rest 2 times. It's a lovely little park, but it has some not hills, but there are some inclines. And I'm walking these inclines my first time around this big park. And I'm huffing it, I push through the second time and then I stop at a picnic table and I rest. Collected myself, did my third walk. And this is before I had a really good, a good watch. I had an old watch that my husband had got me before that did steps, but I didn't know how accurate it was. I got a Fitbit now. Look at hubby bought me a Fitbit. Isn't it pretty with a little pink handle? And I love that it's not huge and chunky. Just a perfect little size to go on my arms. I'm going to show you when I put this on. When I first got this Fitbit, I could only get it on the 3rd hole on the wristband here. And now I'm easily on 4. I could go to 5. So I've lost some weight in my wrist as well, but I just love this little watch. So, but this is before I had this watch. And somebody was walking around and I said, how far do you have to go around this thing to get 4,000 steps? And she said, well, 4 times around is a mile. So probably around there you'd be good. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to make it. But I did. I pushed on and I made my 4 times around that part for my 4,000 steps. I thought I was going to die. The next day I picked a new location. And the next day I picked a new location. And like I said, I walked around lakes, but everywhere I walked that first week, I had to stop, collect myself, get my breath. I had my inhaler with me, but I didn't give up. So I think it was on a 6,000 step day. So I'd done my 4,000 steps for the week. It was on my 6,000 step day when I went to the doctor, and he told me, you need to get new shoes. And so I went to my medical supply place because since I have diabetes, I thought that would be the best resource. And they didn't have anything for me other than something worse than what my grandma was wearing. And so I thought, I just need to start looking up shoe stores. And I'm so rural. We don't have shoe stores here. My options for shoes was Wally World. And I think I was really at the point where I realized I'm past the stage of Wally World. I can't wear the Wally World shoes anymore. My feet aren't going to hold up, and I'm going to end up in serious trouble if I do that. So I located a shoe store in a college town, a little over an hour away from where we live. And I called them up and I said, this is my predicament. Can you help me get some good shoes for this walking challenge that I'm in, these 30 days of walking? And they said, yes, come down. So I drove down there, and I got to tell you what, they put me on a treadmill and watched how I walk. They recorded it, watched how I walked, looked at my gait, checked to see if my feet pronate, which they did. My ankles kind of roll in a little bit. They checked everything about how I walked. They took the shoes that I'd been walking in and they inspected them. They looked at the bottom of the soles to see how I wear the soles down when I walk. And then they came up with a plan for me. And they said, you're not going to wear ladies' shoes anymore. I don't know what it is about our society that we equate a smaller shoe size with being more feminine. Can you relate to that? Anybody in the chat? I mean, do you think that that's how our society is? Because I think I remember, I would say probably starting in middle school. Somebody would get cute shoes and everybody wants to know, what size are they? Oh, they're size 6. And everybody's like, oh, you have such cute little feet. And it started imprinting in your brain that acceptance is when it's cute and little. And I remember when back in my pageant days, I was very proud of the fact that, yes, I'm sporting a beautiful little size 6.5 stiletto. I loved my shoes. And then as I got older, then it went to a size 7. And I was sporting up until I got these new shoes, a size 7.5, but they were killing me. And I even went to 7.5 wide. If you saw my feet, you would know I have Fred Flintstone feet. I don't have elegant, beautiful feet. I've got short, squashy, fat little feet, like little Fred Flintstone feet. But I've been squeezing them into the smallest size shoe that I felt comfortable in because I had this brain malfunction that told me smaller is cute. So here I am walking in these 7.5 size shoes, and my toes are getting all squished and pinched, and I'm putting myself in danger of losing a toe. So they said, we're going to move you into a man's shoe. And I'm like, oh, Lord, that's going to be attractive. So I now wear a size 8 double E men's walking shoe. Good morning. Been listening while doing kitchen stuff. I wear 6.5 and can't hardly find them, even in women's. No such thing in men's or children's. Well, my days of 6.5 and 7.5 are done. And I think the smallest that they made in the men's was the 8. Don't quote me on that. Anyways, they found these shoes for me. And they're these bright, almost like neon pumpkin orange with blue, these teal blue highlights on them. And I love them. I love them. I get so many compliments on those shoes. And let's see, if I put my picture back up, you can see them here in the picture right here. You can see my little hot orange shoes. And I got me some sassy pants to go with them. I got the sassy pants at the thrift store. But I love those shoes. And I'll tell you what, walking has been a dream in those brand new shoes. They spent 2 hours with me, setting me up with the perfect pair of shoes. I don't know how many pairs of shoes they brought up for me to try on, but I tried them all on. They watched me walk in them. I mean, they would have me walk away from them and watch how my hips moved, how my feet moved, were my ankles turning in. They watched everything. And finally, we narrowed it down to those shoes, and I love them. So I've put probably 150 miles on those shoes. Once I had those shoes, the walking was so much easier. So I went from those 6,000 steps a day walks to 8,000 to 10,000. I just progressively got better and better and better. And I kept note. I went to the Dollar Tree and I found this student planner for $1.25. I don't know why they don't just call it the 5 quarters store anymore. But I got this little student planner journal, and I loved that it started when I needed it. I mean, it started in September. No, it started in August. So I didn't have a lot of pages to waste. So I made it a habit to mark this every single day. And the first day that I reached 10,000 steps was only day 8 into that month. I was so proud of myself. And then I started 6,000 steps. The very next day was the next week for that. But if you look right here, this one right here, I completed enough walking in the first 10 days of September that I actually walked a marathon. And I was so proud of myself. Oh my gosh. For me to say that I could barely walk to the stop sign to now, it's like, yeah, in 10 days, I walked the equivalent of a marathon, which may not seem like a lot when you think that it's only, 2.6 miles a day. But to me, that was a big, big deal. And for those of you who don't know, in 1997, I actually completed the LA Marathon. And that was 26.2 miles in LA. Had a wonderful time. Took my time, lollygagged, met with people, took pictures with people, sightseed. I read all the stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Been wearing them now for 10 years. You have inserts in your boots that keep your feet in the correct position. These have inserts that say 8 millimeters. So I think they had inserts made that were just 8 millimeters to the one direction to keep me from pronating. They keep your ankles, knees, hips, and up in alignment. Literally 2 minutes after putting them in my boots, no pain. Right? I felt the difference with these shoes right away. And I'm so thankful. Good morning, Rochelle. Just catching this as you're heading out. Have you on the phone? Thank you. I'm glad you were able to join. I'm talking about just kind of what I've been doing the last few months, giving a rundown. But I'm talking about my walking thing right now. But anyways, like I said, I mean, every time there's a circle, I did at least 10,000 steps that day. Some of them have really big milestones for me. This one here, I mean, here's my first marathon right here. But right there's my second marathon. In another week, I did another marathon. And then another week, I did another marathon. I closed out the month of September by walking the equivalent of 4 marathons, which was huge for me. And I had a lot of people asking me during that time. They said, how much weight have you lost? How much weight have you lost? How much weight have you lost? And what size are you now? What size are you now? What size are you now? And I realized I was falling back into those same unhealthy patterns that were indoctrinated in me as a child. It all came down to the number. Everybody was only interested in the number. And I was only interested in the numbers. And it started getting to the point where halfway through this month, I would get up every morning, strip down, get on the scale, and I better see those numbers change. And for the first couple of weeks they did. And then about halfway through, they didn't move as much, or they didn't move as quickly. And sometimes it takes 3 or 4 days. And it's like, I don't understand what's happening. I'm putting in the effort. I'm walking. I'm watching what I'm eating. I'm doing everything I need to do. Why are the numbers not moving? And it became an obsession so quickly. And I was starting to get down on myself. Maybe this isn't worth it. Maybe I just need to just give up because the numbers aren't moving. And then again, I'm looking through YouTube videos. This is why, for those of us who are content creators, it's important to be honest and put things out there for other people to see. Yes, muscle weighs more than fat. My mind knew that. I knew that in my mind. But it was still, I was stuck on the numbers. And I watched this video one day, and it was this girl. She was about my size. And she was talking about some of the struggles she was having, and she had joined a local gym, and it was just a woman's only gym, which I still wish we had Curves. I wish we had Curves. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Curves. It was a great woman's only exercise place. But she went to this gym, and she said, what I really like about this gym is nobody focuses on what you lose. We only focus on what we gain. It took my mind just a split second to understand what she was talking about. And I started thinking about it. It's like, yeah, I need to switch over numbers. Exactly. I needed to switch over my way of thinking, because by this time I am bending over and getting socks on. By this time I've got these new shoes. They don't have the elastic ties in them anymore. I'm having to actually tie my shoes every day. And that was something I gained. I gained the availability and the ability to actually put socks on and tie my shoes, which was something I couldn't do 6 weeks before. I was gaining the flexibility. I started thinking, making mental notes. What am I gaining? Good morning. Good morning. What am I gaining? I'm gaining strength. I'm gaining flexibility. I'm gaining stamina, because where I couldn't walk to the mailbox without getting winded, let alone down to the stop sign, I'm now putting in the equivalent of a marathon every day. And so I flipped that switch and I started thinking about what all am I gaining? And that made a huge difference. And so I actually belong to a walking group, and every once in a while somebody will say, how much have you lost? And I will tell them, not focusing on what I've lost, I'm focusing on what I'm gaining. Now, I'm still being accountable to the scale, but not every morning like I was. I'm weighing myself once a week. And sometimes it's a great result. Sometimes it's like, I expected a little more, but it's okay, because I'm gaining all of these wonderful things that I needed to work on. So I was really happy that I had this little planner. I finished out September with 109.41 miles. Now, keeping in mind, I couldn't even walk a half a mile when I started, but I finished this month right here, 109.41 miles. And I thought, I'm going to flip the page and I'm going to start October. And when I did that, the marker had bled all the way through into October. So I didn't have an October to work on. So then enough time had passed that the student planners weren't in the stores anymore. I need to find something to write in. I thought, well, I'll just cross off one of the things and I'll make my own October, right? Well, then as I'm flipping through, I realized now I know why this is in the Dollar Tree store. Because as you flip through, it goes August, September, October, November, October, November, October. It doesn't continue on in the proper order. It was a misprint. That's why it's in the store. So I had another October. So I thought, well, this is great, because I came up with a new plan for October. Oh, let me go back to September, because I did do the numbers at the end of the month. So for the month of September, I lost, I think it was 6.1 pounds and about 10.5 inches from all of that walking. Now, you guys know, thank you. Yes, Nancy. I know you saw that I had a brain fart there, didn't you? Oh, I know all the things I can do now that I couldn't do before, but my brain is still fried. I still can't remember things. So thank you for the reminder. The walking challenge was nice, but once I attained it, it's like I need to do something else now. So I started researching what was going to be my next big thing. And I started learning about HIIT. People were talking about HIIT, and it's like, I don't understand what this is. And I learned that HIIT is high intensity interval training. And I thought, oh, please, there's no way I'm doing anything high intensity. I can't jog. I can't do jumping jacks. I'm not doing anything high intensity. Not going to happen. Yeah, 6 to 10 pounds. So I think 6.1 and 50, what did I say? 10.5 inches that first month, or technically the second month. I lost 3 pounds the first month in August, then the next part. And now we're moving into October. And so I thought, well, I kept seeing this HIIT. So I clicked on a couple videos. If you are looking for something to do, there is a channel on YouTube called Yes to Next. It's you spell out yes and then the number 2 and then next. 1 second. Let me put this picture up so you guys can see the difference here. And I'm going to go put the dog out. Okay, I'm back. Okay, ladies. So this HIT thing, yes to next. It's a woman who's about my age. I think she might be a couple of years older than me. I believe she's Korean, and she's from Chicago. And when COVID came around, oops, can I say that now? When the cinnamon vanilla thing came around, she moved out to Vegas to take care of her mother. She didn't want her mother to be by herself during that time. So her mother's in her 80s. And these two ladies have all of these videos for HIT training. And I thought, I watched one and I saw this little 80-year-old lady doing all this stuff. Always go by your clothes, not by the weight. That's what I learned when I worked at GNC. Yes. Here's the thing. During that time, I was only wearing the dresses, which really, they're not flattering because I couldn't fit in my pants anymore. I didn't have any pants to wear. I did not have any pants to wear. I had outgrown my pants. So I only had the sweats that I had started exercising in and these tents. So there was really nothing to gauge. So here's this little old lady in her 80s doing this exercise. And what HIT is for this high intensity interval training, you do an activity for a certain number of seconds, and then you have an active rest. So for instance, you may do side steps and move your arms as best you can for 30 seconds. And then you just slowly march in place because get your heart rate up and then your heart rate down, heart rate up, heart rate down. But anybody can do that. Look at that little old 80-something-year-old lady getting through a whole 20-minute workout with not even breaking a sweat, it seems. So I thought, I'm going to try one. Kicked my butt. It kicked my butt. It's like, holy crap. Even after walking 109 miles and exercising every single day for the last 2 months, that HIT training kicked my butt. Here, I thought it was training for hit and run. Oh, no, I've been doing that since I got licensed. That I don't need any training on. Stay off the sidewalks. So I thought that's what I need to do. So here's my understanding of it, even though some people have argued with me on this, but this is what my research has brought me to. Even though I did really well with all of those walks and I was upping the steps to the 10,000-mile hikes, I'm really getting out there going. It would take me, sometimes it'd be more than 10,000 steps. Sometimes I would go out on my walks and I would actually be on a trail for like 2.5 hours of just uphills, downhills, hoofing it. And there, I'd also started seeing some research about hormones and how they affect your body weight as you become peri and postmenopausal. And I keep seeing these reports. The more research I'm doing, the more they know what I'm doing, and they start throwing things on my phone when you're scrolling. And it kept talking about hormones. And I thought, I've had a complete radical hysterectomy because of the ovarian cancer. I don't have hormones. I do still have hormones. I just wasn't fully understanding what they were talking about. And they were talking about that cortisol hormone where we get the fat tummy. And you get all that lovely grandma tummy roll and you can't do anything with it. And so I started researching it. When I'm taking those 2.5-hour hikes where I'm like huffing it and really, really sweating and working, I looked at my Fitbit reports and my cardio it would peak and then it would just be like this for long periods of time. And I started researching and learning that when you do that, your body goes into that fight or flight response because your heart rate's up and it thinks you're being chased. It doesn't know that you're out on a hike and you're enjoying yourself and trying to do better. It thinks you're being chased. So it automatically floods your system with cortisol. And then your system just absorbs it. So I was doing counterproductive things by thinking I'm going to keep on with these big, big hikes every day. But I get your humor. Oh, you typed Hitman. What did I miss? Anything that's different that you have been regular doing it will be a workout. Yeah. Oh, I was getting some workouts, let me tell you. So when you do these HIT exercises, you do, and this is one thing I really like about this channel, this Yes to Next. They start like, okay, you're going to do this for 20 seconds, then take a rest. 20 seconds, take a rest. Do this next thing, 20 seconds, take a rest. And then the next round is 30 seconds. And then the next round is 40 seconds. And they'll go all the way up to a minute, and then they work their way back down. So it's like a pyramid. And by the time you get to that 60 seconds, you're like huffing it. It's like, man, I don't think I can do it. Then the next round is 50 seconds. You're like, okay, this is a little easier. And by the time you get back down to 20 seconds, you're like, are we even working out? Because I've worked myself to it. But when you work those, let's say you're in the middle of that peak, you work those 40 seconds of, whatever you're going to be doing, your heart rate goes up. Then you go into that active rest for 30 seconds and your heart rate comes back down. And then you have it go back up and then you have it go back down. And so your body doesn't think you're in this fight or flight. And so you don't store the extra cortisol, dang cortisol. So I thought I'm going to do these HIIT exercises and I'm going to follow. I really stayed up late and I found some specific channels that I really liked, because there are some out there, if you look up HIIT, they're like burpees and all, they're just like off the chain. People who have never been overweight, 20 somethings, size 2s that can jump for hours on end and not even break a sweat. I don't even look at those. But I did find there's one called 50 and Fabulous. And so she's in her 50s and she just really gives some really great HIIT routines to do. But I really like Yes to Next. It's April and Aiko. And if you're looking for something to do, April and Aiko are the ones to go to. And then the Fabulously 50. It's either Fabulously 50 or Fabulous and 50. She's got the cutest hair. She has this long hair, but she wears it in these long little ponytails on the side. Very, very cute. 2 really good channels I can recommend for anybody who's looking. So share that if you know somebody who's looking for something different to do. I really thoroughly enjoyed them. One thing I love is that little 80-year-old lady that never gives up. When she's getting tired, though, she'll voice it. She'll be doing something. She goes, just imagine, and I'm walking to get a hot dog. She's got a fixation about hot dogs. I don't know what it is, but every once in a while she's like, yep, I think I'm at the mall. I'm pretending I'm at the mall and I'm walking to the hot dog cart. And she's just so funny. She's so cute. Hey, Casey. Hello, friend. We're just talking about, what I've been up to over the last few months, my little transformation. You look at them but you don't do them. What? Oh, you look at the videos, or you look at the hot dog carts? Tell me which one. So one thing I did is for the month of October, I made sure I did a HIIT workout every single day. And there it is. I marked off every single day. I put videos up when I would mark them off and then try to include little clips of what I was doing. And because there are different things you can do with HIIT, sometimes I would do the video workouts. Sometimes I did my own workout. Oh, you know what I did? I started doing disc golf. You talk about a workout. Disc golf was a fun workout. So I just started doing all of these little workouts and still walking, but I was not striving for those 10,000 steps a day. If I was between my workout and an additional intentional walk, if I hit 6,000 steps a day, I was happy with that. I was not going to stress for that 10,000 a day. The hot dog cart. And I did that. I was hitting my mark and I wasn't paying attention. You know what else I did? I'll show you what else I did. I think I shared this. I know I shared this with you guys at the very beginning of my journey here. I found this little fitness journal for $0.25 at a thrift store for $0.25. What a steal. And I love it because look at the spoke on the wheel of his bike there. When you open it, it's got a hole, and then it's the key. It's the pole for somebody that's skiing. I love it. But there's this little book, and I thought I'm going to be accountable to not only marking off my red mark every day on my calendar, but I'm going to really take notes of what I'm doing. And so for the last several weeks, I am journaling everything. I'm journaling my beginning weight for the week, my ending weight for the week, my blood sugar that I take every morning. I'm doing all of my blood sugar, how many steps I'm walking, how many miles I'm walking, my fitness goals, my diet goals, any specific notes, any appointments I have coming up. It's all here. And then I've got my measurements at the beginning of the month and the end of the month. And I'm really liking getting into the habit of journaling every single day. Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, Broken Hearts. Good morning, Gail. Oh, it's Gail. Hello, Gail. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm already thinking ahead going, oh man, I'm just like filling this out week after week. And eventually I'm going to run out of pages and I'm going to have to find another one. And we'll talk about that in a little bit because I have something fun to share with you. So I've been journaling every day, and this has been very good at keeping me accountable. Now, let's talk about October. I had something to share with you about October, and I forget now what it was. It just jumped right out of my head. So for October, I lost an additional 5.1 pounds. So if I take the 3 months total, I've lost 16.8 pounds. I actually put this before picture and after picture up on my walking group that I belong to, and somebody commented on it. They said, you've lost more than 16 plus pounds. Those pictures aren't accurate. It's like, no, they are. That's my before, and this is my after. And to be quite honest, I don't even think when I first started, I could even fit in that dress anymore. The arms were too tight. So I said that the scale is saying almost 17 pounds. I'm wearing pants again, so the pants don't lie. Let me see if I can find something here. I'm going to go over real quick and see if I can find something to show you, because I really did like something that I found. I had to take I didn't have to. We took our granddaughter to her very first, it's not a play, but it was a presentation, at an opera house. And so we took her for her birthday to go see this really neat show. And I thought, I can't wear my frumpy dresses and I can't wear my gym clothes. So I need to find something to wear. I'm seeing if I can scroll and find it. And I dug out the pants that I couldn't fit in anymore. And I thought, this is going to be a disaster because I know these pants aren't going to fit. And I'm scrolling. Oh my gosh, you guys want to see something? I'm going to share the screen. I'll show you something just so you understand. Here, look at this. This is me. This is me right here. How do I make it big? There we go. So this was back in my skinny days when I used to do pageants, which people don't believe. And I think there's a picture of me completing the LA Marathon right there. So, I used to be fit. I used to know what to do. But that's not, and there's a picture of me. Casey thinks I staged that picture. I took it from a video when I was actually trying to wipe the sweat off my head. Let me see if I can find, I'm going to take this down. I'm looking for this one. Thank you. I'm looking for this one specific picture to share with you guys because I got into my pants. I know Papa Jim wishes I'd say that more, but let's see if I can find it and show you guys that not only am I back in my pants, they're loose. I could easily go down a size now. And I think there are some days where I feel like I'm not getting it done. I'm not getting it done. It's not working. And then now that I'm in my pants, I know I've done something good. So I'm scrolling. How does so much stuff get on my news feed? I know I can't even remember what day we went. I'll have to find it. Anyways, I wore my pants and I wore a cute little leopard top. And it just kind of, I have a waist again. So I've done all these things. It's starting to show. But I was thinking the other day, I'm going to run out of my journal space. And what am I going to do with my journal space? I need a new journal. So I went on Amazon and I thought I'm just going to buy one of those little exercise journals. And then the light bulb went off over my head. I thought, why would you buy somebody else's journal? Why don't you just make your own? So I switched hats yet again in the middle of all this. I'm still exercising. I'm still doing and I've got a new challenge I'm going to share with you because I'm going to start a new challenge for November. And I started watching videos on what to do to start making my own books. And I'm very happy to say I've got 2 books on Amazon that are in review right now. When they're released, thanks to Casey. Casey has shown me how to set up my own Amazon storefront. So I have my own Amazon storefront. So you can go in and you can find the little things. If you see them in my video and you like something, you can go into my storefront and buy it. So I'm going to put my little books in there. So my first one is a Meals in a Jar. cookbook, and it's not the recipes. You fill it in with your favorites, because your favorite meal in a jar recipe might not be my favorite. And that doesn't mean I want to spend money on a cookbook that has stuff in it that I'm not going to eat or prepare for my family. So you can put everything you need in this little cookbook, and it's your own. I'm writing my own little cookbook for meals in a jar. Then I made one for my favorite canning recipes, because I don't know about you, but I get a favorite canning recipe and I might write it here, or I might write it there, or I might know I can go back and look at a video, but sometimes I lose where I'm at. And so I'm going to be able to just put it right in my own little cookbook. It's got mason jars on the front. It's very sweet. I love it. People that don't believe things like that make me think they're a liar, because that's their first assumption. Oh my God, what did I miss? I can't even remember what I just talked about. Are we talking about people not thinking that I was really in pageants and that I completed the LA Marathon, or did I say something else? I don't know. Anyways, so last night I finished my third book. I'm going to be doing the final look through on it, and then I will submit it to Amazon to see if they approve it, and then I will get that in my store. And it's a walking mindfulness journal. It's a journal with, how many do I have in there? I think I have 50 prompts of mindful thinking, of journaling after you take your walk. And they're all positive. I didn't put anything in there about like, what did you hate about your walk today? Or what was the worst thing about your walk? They're all positive. And one of them is, describe how the sun felt on your face during your walk today. So they're very, very thought-provoking. And each journal entry has 2 pages, and they're lined. It's beautiful. The marathon. Yes, I did. I finished it. And I finished it in the wrong size shoes. And boy, was that a mistake. I'm learning a lot about, I should have known then that my shoes were the wrong size. So I've been working on these books. I'm going to be getting those out, and I'm going to be putting them in my storefront. And even if I only buy my own book, it's still better than buying somebody else's book. And why not? Why not fill out something that I created that I know that I'm going to love, and then I get to share with my friends as well. So keep your guys, if you're going to be doing something, keep your eye on that. I'm going to be coming out with some more books, putting some things in my Amazon store, and super cheap. So anyways, let's move on to what I'm going to be doing for November. Did I tell you guys my total 16.8 pounds, and what did I say? It was 15 and a half or 15 3/4 inches. The pants fit. I'm ready to go down another size, but I'm not going to jump into buying a bunch of clothes. But it's getting cold here, so I'm going to have to find something to wear besides just my workout outfits. But okay, so for November, it's like I need to come up with something new for November. And so I started searching 30-day challenges, 30-day challenges, 30-day challenges. And I came across one that I'm going to modify for myself. If anybody wants to do this, I think it's going to be pretty neat. I've already gotten myself in the habit of journaling every day, or at least marking down what I'm doing every day. So that's going to be a plus, because that's going to be part of this. But I found this thing called the 75-day hard. I know what our family is getting for Christmas. Yay. Because Mama gets a little jingle every time you guys get one, but they're not even released yet. So I'm not going to put the cart in front of the horse. Anyways, it's called 75-day hard. And so I watched a couple people that did it, and a lot of people are like, I only made it to day 50 and I can't do it anymore, because it's not a weight loss challenge. It's not a physical fitness challenge. It is a mindfulness challenge of mental acuity, the physical aspect of it, and making yourself accountable and sticking to something and forming these good habits. But the first one, the 75-day hard, is a little bit too extreme. So, and the more I looked into it, I thought, I don't think I can do the 75-day hard, because for the 75-day hard, you commit to 75 days of this journaling and exercising and all these other things that you're doing. So it's 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each. So right there, you're committing to an hour and a half of exercise. 45 minutes can be an inside activity, treadmill, whatever. The other 45 minutes has to be outside. And I'm coming into winter. It was 18 degrees the other day when I left for the gym. So I'm not going to go out there and work with asthma when it's 18 degrees outside, and it's going to get colder. I have a spiral notebook for canning recipes, one for favorite recipes, one for sourdough recipes. Awesome. I like the sourdough idea. That's pretty cool. Where's my pen? Because there may be recipes out there, but that doesn't mean I can't add to the thought process, you know? Keep them coming. I looked on Amazon, and there are recipe books for meal in a jar, but none that you fill in on your own what your favorites are. And one thing that got me also thinking about the recipes is I found at the thrift store, again, 25 cents, this cute little cookbook. It says I'm writing my own cookbook, and the pages are blank, and you write some of your favorite stuff in there, and I love it. The 75-day flaccid, yes, is what I'm going to be going for. So again, 2 45-minute workouts, one inside, one outside. Figured I couldn't do that. Logging, journaling, a gallon of water a day, no alcohol, whole foods. You have to take a selfie every single day. And there were just all these lists of things you needed to do. And this one girl who was like in her 20s and obviously fitter than I am, she's like, I can't do it. I mean, she actually posted a picture of herself in her closet crying, going, I can't do it anymore. I just can't do it. And I thought, wow, it mentally broke her. And so I don't know if it's a generational thing, like, you know, is she a millennial or something? I don't know. So I thought, I'm going to have to modify that. Well, then I saw that they have something called the 75-day soft. And I'm going to modify the 75-day soft to work towards my needs and goals. So for my November challenge, and it's November and December. Of course, now I found one that's 50 that's almost similar. But I think I'm going to shoot for the 75 because it'll get me through the holidays. November, December, and past New Year's. I'm going to have one 45-minute workout 6 days a week. Allow myself one day for recovery, for muscle recovery, and for mental recovery. Does that mean I'm going to do it? Not necessarily, because when we're here on a Sunday, I'm like, I want to get out and walk. It's become a habit for me. I like it. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh, can I go? I wonder if I could go walk at that one place tomorrow. It's become almost like an addiction for me. So I don't know if I'm going to actually use that rest day, but 6 days a week, 45 minutes. In addition to the 45-minute workout, I have to check the Fitbit, and whatever I'm lacking to reach that 6,000 step mark, I need to walk until I at least get the 6,000 steps. Anything above that's gravy. So for instance, yesterday at the gym that I just joined, and I showed you guys the picture, I went to an aerobics class and geared very much towards what I need. It's not, you know, you're not getting on the floor. You're not doing jumping jacks. It's nothing too strenuous for me. Yeah, it's bossy. And this one's the one I'm going to do is not so bossy. I'm going to get Jim one of those. I'm going to get Jim a 75-day flaccid shirt. What's your order? Put it on a tee. So I did my workout yesterday, checked my Fitbit. I still needed to get some work done. So I went to the second floor where they have the walking track, and I walked. And once my buzzer went off here on my watch, it's like, okay, I did what I need to do for today. Let's move on to the next part of my November challenge. Here's the next part of my November challenge that is part of this 75-day soft. Can I call it Flaccid-vember for November? So, which reminds me, you know, with my sense of humor, and Rochelle and we share a very similar sense of humor. In the class yesterday, I was the youngest one there. The instructor said, oh, I don't have a joke today. So I told a joke. Everybody laughed. He's like, hey, she's got jokes. I said, yeah, I do. That's all. I should have stopped, but I will say it here, and maybe I won't get in trouble. But I said to the ladies, I said, oh my gosh, you guys would not believe what happened the other day. And they were like, what? I said, my husband choked on his Viagra. They were like, what? I mean, they're just falling for it. I said, yes, he choked on it. I had to take him to the hospital. And they're like, is he okay? I said, yeah, but he's had a stiff neck for a week. And they all just stared at me. And one lady chuckled a little bit, and I kind of shrugged and I laughed, and I went back to working out. And, oh, now you have to. Yes. It's fun getting those gift cards. So I'm exercising. The lady next to me, she goes, I'm not sure it's their sense of humor. That might not be their style of humor. It's like, yeah, I know, I kind of gathered on it. That's the second time I've dropped that joke in this community in 10 years, and both times it flopped like a flaccid 75-day workout. Anyways, second part of my thing. The fitness aspect, I've got taken care of. The diet aspect, I'm going to continue on with my low carb because of the diabetes. And I've really reined in what I thought I had really reined in my eating. I've been eating good things. I've been watching. I haven't had a birthday cake. I haven't had a milkshake. I haven't had anything I shouldn't be having. I've been very mindful. Even when we go out, I'm very mindful what I get. And I think my only big treat at all is maybe my creamer in my coffee. And even that, bad influence, aren't we all? Only the best people are the bad ones. Anyways, the ladies will get used to me, but I know not to drop any more Viagra jokes on them. Anyways, but yesterday, this is part of this challenge, is I'm going to really start being mindful of logging what I'm eating and portion control and really figuring out what I'm eating. And so for the last several weeks, it's been like, I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to make myself a 2-egg omelet with the eggs from my chickens. It's going to be healthy. I'm going to put some veggies in it, and, no toast, no hash browns, just have my omelet. Made an omelet yesterday. And again, no hash browns, no toast, just a 2-egg omelet. This is what it consisted of. I have, since I'm a vegetarian, I love the taste and the texture of steak. I just choose not to eat it anymore. Well, Beyond Beef has these really nice little steak tips, and I like them. They're really good. So I took 1 serving of the steak tips, which lately I've just been like, I open the bag and I make 1 omelet out of half the bag, and then I have half the bag for another. Well, there's 3 servings in there. I've been using 2. So I made sure I measured out my serving. I took 1 pat of butter and put it in the frying pan and put my steak tips in there because they're nice when they've got a little bit of crunch to them. So I did that. I cracked my 2 eggs, put them in there, made a scramble, measured out 1/3 cup of cheddar cheese, put that on there. What else did I have in there? The 2 eggs, the cheese, the steak. And then I topped it off with just 3 tablespoons of taco sauce. Okay, there's my breakfast. A little less than what I've been eating because I cut back on the steak. 670 calories. The omelet was 670 calories. And I thought, my gosh, here I'm thinking I've been doing really good. And I bet you I've been pushing the limits of probably, because I'll just, it's healthy. I can have it. No carbs. The carbs are good. I can have this. And I bet you I've been doing a little bit much. The creamer in the coffee is my thing I can't give up. Yes, coffee without it is sad. Coffee without it is wrong. I have to have the creamer. I did do a video though, and some days I do it, some days I don't. I do the protein replacement drinks because they have the protein that's good for my diabetes and my weight loss and my fitness journey. And then they have good flavors like birthday cake, and they're not that bad. I did the cinnamon roll, the birthday cake, and another one. And sometimes those are really good to just pour in my coffee, and that way I'm getting that protein. Did not do that today because I didn't have one chilled. So I'm going to be adding to my 75-day flaccid soft workout is I'm going to have to journal every day what I eat. So I did that for yesterday. I came in at about 1,300 calories. I'm going to try to stay between 12 and 16. I don't want to look at my deficits of how much I'm working, and I worked off 2,500 calories, but I ate 2,400 calories for the day. So I'm going to try to be mindful. I'm not going to obsess over it, but I'm going to be mindful of how much food I'm actually intaking. In addition to the nutrition aspect of it for the dieting is no soda pop and no alcohol. The alcohol is not a problem. I maybe have 1 drink a year, if that. But the soda pop is, I love the carbonation. Now, I have not had a sugary soda pop in a minimum of 3 months. You did that with your Fitness Pal for you. I was looking into the Fitness Pal, but now it's money, and I wasn't going to get them. I wasn't going to pay for it. But I'm going to have to come up with something because I need to have something that helps me be accountable. But here's the thing I learned too. We have all these apps And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing these notebooks too. We have all these apps and we punch it in our phone and we set it down. There's a way I want to say this because it made so much sense to me when I heard it the other day. There is something about walking on a treadmill versus something about actually getting outside, getting your feet on the ground and walking. There's the sounds, the sights, the smells. You have a connection to that activity. When you're putting everything in a phone or on an app and you put the phone down, that's a great way to do things. However, there's a connection that's missing. There is something about taking pen to paper and physically writing something out and having that connection that is good for your mental stability. I've been doing a little bit of research on this. And so I want to write things out. I think it's a more mindful way to do things. And so that's what I'm going to do. And so I will be making a book. Hello, surprise. I'll be making a book for some of these things too. Writing it down makes you know what's going on and what you are doing. Yes, it's more tactile. Yes. I had to do it in a book for your GD. Oh, you had all the macros. See, that's another thing I started looking into. It's free. Maybe I was looking at the wrong one because I thought I just downloaded a FitnessPal app and it wanted me to pay. We'll talk about that. But I'm still going to write things down because, again, I like the accountability. It's a connection. I think there's something there's a detachment. I mean, I'm sure I could put in 2 eggs, third a cup of cheese, and this. Oh, that's another thing. I added a tortilla and then I turned it into like a breakfast burrito. That's what it was. But my tortillas are very low carb. They're the new the balanced ones for diabetics. Anyways, I digress. So I'm going to be writing these things down. I'm going to keep my. Oh, yes. Okay. Gotcha. Now I know what the GD is. I thought you were cursing at me. It's like, I had to do it. GD it. So I'll be keeping a food log. I'll be watching what I'm eating. Water. I'm not going for a gallon a day. That is insane. I am going to go for a half a gallon a day. Refilling this. I got this at the gym the other day when I was working out. And so I kept the bottle on, just refilling it. Plus I've got my circle and I like that I can have the circle. It's got the flavors. I can have that. And so I'm really going to focus. I know I was getting plenty of water before, but I wasn't tracking it. I'm going to be tracking my water to making sure that does that. Anyways, when I left the gym yesterday, a part of this 75-day challenge is you're not just working on improving yourself physically and improving yourself by making sure you get good habits throughout those 75 days that hopefully you will carry forward. You're also feeding your brain. So you have to commit to reading 10 pages of a nonfiction book every day. So I thought about it after I went to the library. It's like, I'm sure I've got a couple of them here that I could read. But for those of you who have been with me for a while, ever since May, I've been on this Hamilton kick. I love the show Hamilton. I love the music from Hamilton. It has made me want to research more about Alexander Hamilton, about Aaron Burr, about the people during that time period. I'm very much into it. I love finding new little factoids all the time about it. I've probably watched it 100 times. I exercise to it at nighttime. Papa Jim goes to bed. I don't have enough steps in. Hamilton goes on the TV, and I'm on my Tony Little Gazelle, or I'm on my recumbent bike. I'm doing something to get that extra that I need. Love it. Michael Crichton. I haven't read him. Now, I went to the librarian, and I told her what I was doing. I said, I have to have a good nonfiction book to read. And she's like, well, this is a really good one about Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. I was like, okay, I could do that. Or here's one by Tom Brokaw. He's really good. Or have you read this person? Or have you read that person? Because I told her I kind of like historical things. We did that Civil War thing last year. Really, really enjoyed getting into the history of that. And now the Revolutionary War with everything with Alexander Hamilton. And it's like, she would make these ideas and I was, okay, I'll take it. I'll think about it. Richard Preston. I will have to remember that one as well. Here's the deal. She gave me all these books. And then she did say, she said, oh, what about Matthew Perry? Have you read Matthew Perry's autobiography? And I was like, no. And, he passed away this past week. And for those of you who are on my YouTube channel, I'm dropping a little trivia quiz every day for the next 20 days in honor of Matthew Perry. It's in memoriam, just little fun little quizzes. So if you're just wanting to beef up on some of your friends' trivia, those are dropping every day. The first couple of videos had a little glitch, but I've fixed that from the third day on. Anyways, so I found that book and I thought, okay, maybe I'll grab that one and read it. But then, you know how sometimes they say it's all about the jacket of your book and like the font and the picture and everything. This grabbed my attention. I grabbed this book. I mean, The Sewing Girl's Tale. And there was something about the picture. I don't know if it's because it reminds me of the girl with the pearl earring. I don't know. But then when I read it and it said The Sewing Girl's Tale, I thought, oh, I wonder if that's anything like The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, what is this? Because that was a good read. So I picked it up and I looked at it and it says, a story of crime and consequences in revolutionary America. It's like, oh, it's the Revolutionary War era. And I'm looking at it and I open up the front jacket to read it. And it is about our nation's first trial for, I want to say it so I don't get in trouble. She was forced upon. Someone forced themselves upon her. And she didn't stay quiet. She actually took it to trial. So she is of the working class and someone of the higher class wasn't very nice to her. And she didn't stay quiet about it. She took it to trial. One of the attorneys in the trial, Alexander Hamilton. Why was I drawn to this book? Pick it up. I want to learn everything about it. I think I'm going to find some maybe not so lovely things about Alexander Hamilton because I don't think he represented her. I think he may have represented the rake of the story. So every day for the next 75 days, I'm going to read 10 pages. Now, obviously, this one's not going to get me through the whole 75 days. So I got a second one, but I'll share that one later. And then while I was at the library, so I'm going to feed my mind with a good nonfiction story and learn a little bit about our founding fathers. Because the second book's also about the founding mothers. So cool. And if you've not seen Hamilton yet, watch it. If you have to watch it with, if you have questions, let me know. It's genius. It's absolutely genius. So while I was at the library, I thought, I need to do something for myself socially. I'm here on the farm. I have all of my friends out in social media world, but I don't really socialize here where we are. I can go, except for now that I'm actually out doing my exercising, my walks and my different things for physical activity, I can go a whole week. And the only person I see is my husband when he comes home at the end of the day. I don't see anybody. I mean, I might wave at the UPS man when he drops off something here at the house, but I have no socialization, which is not who I am. I am a social butterfly. I love being social. But since we've moved here to the farm, and especially after the cancer diagnosis and everything, I'm a homebody now. So while I was at the library, I asked the librarian, I said, I heard you guys have a book club. And she said, yeah, we meet once a month. And I asked her what the demographics were like of the group. And is it cliquish and things like that? And she assured me she thought I would do okay with it. I'd probably be the youngest one there, but she thought I would do okay. And I said, well, why don't you let me know how that works? She's going to be sending me some emails. She goes, it's kind of late for you to get in on this month's, but we will be meeting for the next one, December 6th. And she gave me the book. I signed out the book and she says, have it read by the next time we get together. And we just get together and we really discuss the book. And she goes, I don't know if you'll like it or not, but here you go. I'm one chapter in. I love this book. It is so good. It is called so far. Now, I don't know. Don't take me to town on this one because who knows how it's going to change. But first chapter in, I'm intrigued. It's called The Saints of Swallow Hill. And it is about a woman that lives in North Carolina with her husband, and they work in the tar field. That's why it's called the Tar Heel State, is they get the tar from the sap from the trees. They farm it. And they work for sharecroppers. And he's not the best ethical character, let's say, and he does something that somehow, I don't know what it is, but somehow it compromises them. And she somehow has to leave their life and portray herself as a man and go to another state to try to survive and fend for herself. Something's happened to where she can't even let people know who she is. I don't know what it is yet. But she ends up at another farm, and she knows enough from working with her husband prior. She knows how to do certain things in these farms. And she ends up on another farm, and somehow she befriends another worker and an enslaved woman, and they're going to escape. She's going to plan their escape. And this is a true story. This is nonfiction. It's a true story. And I'm really intrigued about it. So I'm happy that I'm going to be able to do this. So a really good book club. So I've done something for myself socially. So the other elements of my 75-day challenge, personal care. This is one I really struggle with. I'm going to make every effort to get into bed before midnight, which I did not go to bed till 1:30 last night. One of my things is I cannot sleep past 8. I need to be in bed by midnight, up by 8, so I can get a good night's sleep. The other thing is to not bring my phone to bed with me, because I have a very bad habit. If I roll over, I've got to grab my phone and check things. Check to see if an email came in, check social media. What are my kids doing? 2 hours difference from me. Did I sell a pattern on Etsy? I'm checking things. And I need to stop doing that, because I need to get that restful sleep for not only my physical self, but my mental self. So I'm going to make every effort to go to bed by midnight and not sleep in past 8. Now, I did make one caveat, because I'm going to be writing all this down, and I'm going to have a checkoff list every day for this 75-day challenge. Saturdays and Sundays. If I'm not up walking and Papa Jim's up and he's going to be making breakfast and tending to the animals, I'm going to allow myself to sleep in on a Saturday and Sunday, because that's really, who doesn't like sleeping in on a Sunday? So I'm going to allow myself that little bit of a caveat. I'm going to allow myself to sleep in a little bit. Sun on your face as soon as you wake up. Yep. I'm going to try it. Did you guys see the picture of the sunrise yesterday? Oh my gosh. The sunrise yesterday was glorious, glorious, glorious. And if I would have slept in yesterday instead of getting up to go to that new workout thing, which I haven't even shared with you yet. Look at this sunrise yesterday. Oh my word. It was beautiful. I did not edit this picture. I did not do anything with it. That is taken with my semi-smartphone. It's semi-stupid phone. It's not a very good phone. I get it at Walmart, but I just rolled down the window as I was leaving the driveway and took a picture of that glorious sunrise. Did I say sunset earlier? I meant sunrise. When I got to the gym, this is what everybody was talking about. Everybody in this area was talking about that sunrise yesterday. If I had slept in, I would have missed it. However, if I would have slept in, I'm pretty certain Papa Jim would have called me and said, get up and go look at the sunrise, because he did that for our son. He called our son and said, you got to go out and you got to get out of the barn, because he was working. Get out of the barn and go look at that sunrise, because it is glorious. So I was really glad that I was up yesterday doing that. So one thing I want to share with you, because I was talking about going to this gym. We have a fitness. It's not fitness. Let me back that up. It's not a gym. It's not a fitness center. It's the wellness center. It's right next to the hospital. They send a lot of their physical therapy patients over there, but it is our county's wellness center. I want to make sure I say that, because it's not your typical gym and it's not a fitness center. It's the wellness center. They have a therapy pool. They do demographic appropriate classes. So again, you don't have a bunch of 20-somethings that have never had health issues in their life that are just, jumping up and down on a trampoline and hitting themselves in the knees or in the face with their knees. It's not that. Thank you. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. I understand I go to bed at 11, but I am always up 2 to 3 times because of my back and your hip. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know why I wake up so much. It's been that way ever since chemo. I don't have good sleeping patterns ever since chemo. And it's just something that happens to a lot of people when they go through chemo. There's a lot of insomnia issues when you go through chemo, and then just became a habit. I'm going to try to break that habit get back to bed at a decent stage, and then wake up at a decent time. So I had noticed in September, something had come across social media that there was going to be an open house at the wellness center, and that they were going to be having a raffle for things like punch cards. So for instance, you can get a punch card there for, I think it's $18 or $24, and it's got 6 little things to punch out. Every time you go in, they punch it, and you can get one for swimming. You can get one for walking. If you don't want to get a membership, you can just kind of a la carte these things with these little punch cards. And so they were going to be giving away some punch cards and some other things. And I thought, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to this open house and get some punch cards. I'm going to add that to my exercise routine. I'm not interested in going there every day. It's 20 miles round trip. And we're coming up into the season where there's going to be snow and I might not be able to get off the farm. But I'm going to go and see if I can get those punch cards because they don't expire, right? So I wrote my walking friend. I said, hey, today's the open house over at the wellness center. Let's go. We'll double our chances of getting some punch cards. And she couldn't go that day. So I drove all the way out there. I was so excited. So excited. 10 punch. So I get there and it's like, there's nobody here. I'm going to win everything because it's the place isn't packed and they're going to do these drawings. You have to be present to win. And I'll hang out for the 3 hours just to win what I want. You know, and since it's an open house, I can walk the track and play with the machines and all that other stuff. So I walk in, I'm all excited. I said, I'm here. And the guy's like, for what? I said, for the open house. I'm really surprised you don't have a good turnout. He goes, that's the 22nd of October, not the 22nd of September. I was an entire month early. So excited about this open house. And I read that flyer 20 times before I drove out there. And I've been doing that a lot lately. I did that for a harvest festival with Papa Jim. We drove like 40 miles one way to go to this harvest festival. And it was on the wrong day. And I looked at it. I don't know why I'm doing that. So I was like, oh man, I was really looking forward to winning some of those punch cards. I said, is there a prize? Is there a gift for the first person to show up for the open house? He goes, no, but that's a really good idea. He says, I'll take care of you. Don't worry. He goes, you come back for the open house and I'll take care of you. I said, I'm going to hold you to that. He says, okay. But meanwhile, I went back and I did buy a punch card so I could go in and walk on inclement weather days because the weather was starting to turn. And I thought I'll go in on those days and I'll at least have 6 passes to do some walking. Yeah, omega-3. If it's fish oil, you know, I won't take it. I will up my, I'll up my walnuts and flax. Always seems I don't get to the deep sleep stage until about 5 a.m. Up at least 2 times a night, right? And that's the thing is this Fitbit tells me how accurate it is. I don't know, but it'll tell me my deep sleep. There's sometimes I'll tell my husband, it's like, look, I got 2 minutes of deep sleep last night and I got 15 minutes of REM. And that's all I'll have all night long. Otherwise, it's just fitful sleeping all night long. Anyways, October 22nd rolls around and I showed up at the open house and I pointed at him. I said, remember, I was the first one here. He's doing memberships for the year. I don't want a membership. I can't afford a membership. They're pretty expensive. I'm wanting to win one of the punch cards, 2 of the punch cards, a gift card, because they were going to do gift cards that you could put towards a membership. Top prize, $100. I thought I'll put $100 towards a single membership. He says, come over here. Let's get you signed up. I was like, I don't know. He goes, were you just looking at getting a membership for you, right? I said, well, I'd kind of like to maybe get my husband too, because maybe he can come and sit in the jacuzzi after a hard day and just, you know, soak in the hot water. So I'd like to see if I'd get one for both of us. And he hands me the sheet. And the prices just jump out the page and slap me in the face. And as I feel like I'm afraid he's going to pressure me into getting this membership. I'm like, I don't know. I said, I like the senior prices. Senior prices are a bit of a savings. I said, I'm not technically a senior, but I do have 7 grandchildren. I should qualify as a senior. He goes, that's what we'll do. We'll qualify you as a senior. He goes, we'll get you and your husband signed up on the senior plan. Okay. And he goes, and because you were the first one here, he took $200 off the price. That's better than winning the raffle. Because I'll take $200 off the price because I know you're motivated and you're dedicated. You've been here. You keep coming back. I'm seeing the change in you since I first met you. You're motivated. Let's get you in here and really get working with you. I found out, I made a couple phone calls, and I found out my health savings account, my HSA, which is money that's been pulled pre-taxed out of my husband's paycheck that's to go to medical, will pay for the wellness center. So I got the membership, and it wasn't even like I felt it. It's not like it came out of the bank account or put it on a credit card, put it on the medical card. They paid for it. So now I have the membership for a full year, and I won a gift card. Right? He was so good. Went to a huge estate sale a year late. It popped up on Facebook. I thought it was reason. Oh, Gwen, I would do something like that. Totally. Oh, how embarrassing. Could you imagine if their garage was open and you just walked in and started rifling through stuff in people's garage going, yeah, I'm here for the estate sale. That was last year, lady. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so I got the membership and I won a gift card. So I don't know what I'm going to spend the gift card on because now I really don't need to spend anything because I got the membership, although they do have some classes that cost a little extra from the actual membership. So when I was there, I was introduced to the ladies out at the pool who have their pool aerobics class, and they call themselves the Bobbers. Lovely group of ladies, all quite a bit older than me, which is fine. I mean, I can blend in anywhere. And like I said, the ladies in the aerobics class I was in the other day, they were older than me. But they said, yeah, we just kind of just bob around and then we all go out for coffee. So it's more of a social thing. And I'm driven right now. I'm focused. I don't want to just play in the water for 45 minutes and then go get coffee at the coffee house where they're going to have all these sweets and temptations and stuff. Well, maybe not for me. So, but I've got this gift card. What I'm going to spend it on? Well, I start going to the gym now that I've got this membership. Wellness Club. I had a friend who was watching a movie, and then her and her daughter jumped in the car and went to Dairy Queen to get the peanut butter parfait on special. They were watching a movie they had taped. That's something I would do. That is something I would totally do. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I would do that. I was working out one day, and you guys may have seen this video. It's like I need to really focus on getting down on the floor and getting back up from the floor. And I thought I could gracefully lower myself to the floor and then work my way back up. I'm going to work on that a few times a day. No, I plopped to the floor. I'm surprised I don't have any compression issues with my spine. And then it was not pretty getting back up. But I survived, and I thought, man, I need to really work on that. And then I saw 2 ladies my age, and one lady is just like, she's pretending she has a kettlebell in her hand, and she gracefully and succinctly lowers herself to the floor and then reverses those steps and gets up off the floor, pretending she's holding this kettlebell because it balances her. I walked over to her and I said, hey, I've been watching you. I've been seeing what you're doing. And this is what happened to me. And I need to learn how to do that. And so I asked, with her permission, I video recorded her going through the steps so I can practice it. And she said, you know what you need to do? You need to get together with so-and-so, the guy who signed me up for the membership. Get together with him and book a session with him because he's a personal trainer. I thought, cool. She goes, he'll set everything up for you, what you need to do, and he'll teach you the steps to doing the proper way to get up and down off the floor. I said, great. So I made an appointment with him. And then in the meantime, I come back home and I start researching, looking for this method of getting up and down off the floor. And I start doing all this researching and finding out that that's the number one thing that lands people in nursing homes. They fall and they can't get up. And I need to really focus on learning how to do this. So I made this appointment with him. He spent 2 hours with me putting together a comprehensive workout plan for me. He spent the first bit of that time walking around the track with me and asking me, what are your goals? What are you focused on? What is your determination right now? What's making you want, do you have an event that you got to lose some weight for? What's behind you wanting to make this change in your life? And he kept asking questions. He was digging. And the more he dug, the more he was computing in his brain what he needed to put together for me. And he said, we're not going to focus on weight loss. We're not going to focus on this, or this. He goes, we're going to focus on repairing the damage that you've had done to your body, because I've got some rotator cuff issues, some knee issues. We're going to work on exercises. So we're going to strengthen that. We're going to rehabilitate that. We're going to throw this in. We're going to throw that in. He goes, we're going to work on getting you strong. He says, the method that the girls are talking about for you to get up off the floor, that's when you graduate. We got to get you to that point. We're not going to start you at that point. We're going to get you to that point. And I swear to God, I saw him yesterday and he gave me a 2-page printout of everything, to the detail of everything he wants me to do throughout the week. And I'm going to get stronger. And he says, I don't want you to do this with your arm. I don't want you to do this with your knee, because we're going to work on healing you and getting you better. And you're going to keep walking. And it was great. So he got me all set up, and I said, okay, I'm going to do one more set of everything we've done here today. And I'll catch up with you when I come downstairs, and I'll even up with you on what I owe you for your session today for the personal training. Get this. Not only is he the personal trainer there, he's finishing up his schooling to become a physical therapist. So he took off his personal trainer hat and he put on his physical therapist hat for those 2 hours he was with me. And he did everything from a physical therapist standpoint to help me get healed and stronger. And that was so great. Yes, he is. I think. I honestly didn't look to see if there's a ring, but I think he is. He's in his mid to late 20s, I think. Very nice young man. Anyways, I said, I'll square up with you when I come downstairs. He says, you're good. You won that gift card the other day. The gift card was $25. He spent 2 hours with me as a personal trainer / physical therapist for $25. So great. So great. So the day before I met with him, I went to one of those little pool aerobic classes. And while I was, bebopping around, and I was actually doing my own thing because all the ladies were socializing, I went to go kick my leg out and my knee froze. Like it hinged and I couldn't move it either direction. I was like, that's weird. Finally, it kind of snapped a little bit and went back into where it was supposed to be. And I just kept on doing my thing because it didn't hurt. As I was walking out of the wellness center later that evening, it kind of bolted a little bit and I heard it pop. And I was like, oh, crap. So I told him about it the next day. So we're going to take it very, very easy on my knee. And he's completely adjusted everything. Because it happened the day before I met with him, but I still did my session with him. But then the few days after that, it started hurting more. And he didn't have me doing like deep lunges or squats or anything. So the things he gave me were not detrimental to my knee, but I did something when I was in the pool. He's totally adjusted it for me. The thing is I can just walk up to him while he's there at the gym, and I can say, you know what, I've got this on my list, but do I need to modify it? Because, put your finger right here on my knee and feel this. He's like, oh yeah, let's change that. He goes, I'll be upstairs in a minute. We'll get you set up for something else. So he's like engaged, he's involved, and he's not charging me extra. So I think it's great. And he's the instructor for the little exercise thing that I did yesterday with the weights and the Swiss ball. So I'm really happy with that. And so I'm really excited to get started on this new 75-day challenge with my diet and my water and my personal health, reading to strengthen my brain a little bit, and the exercise and the diet. I'm loving it. I'm looking forward to this next 75 days. The great thing about the 75 days is the 75-day hard, the 75-day hard challenge. If you don't complete everything, you have to start over. So let's say you're 34 days into your challenge. If one day you don't get both of those exercises in, or you didn't take your selfie picture, or you didn't read, you have to start over on day one and start all over again. And my brain doesn't work that way. And I think that's one reason why so many people are finding it so challenging to finish it. But this modification, where it's not quite as stringent, you don't have to start over if you don't make it. So yesterday with day one, I got the exercises in, I got the water in, I got the food down, I read the book, but I didn't get to bed by midnight. And so I'm glad that I don't have to say, okay, yesterday was a wash, because it wasn't. I still had my successes there. It was still good. It was still good. Next visit, Alicia be like, oh, by the way, I have a friend and she's got a dog. So that's what I've been doing. I'm thinking maybe during the, see, I've been sitting here too long. I've been thinking during the winter months, I might put some videos out. I've got the little Friends trivia videos coming out. But right now, the focus is on me getting stronger, because I can't give you good content or any content if I'm in a nursing home, because I fall and break my hip because I'm stupid and I don't have the strength to get up off the floor. I actually shared in my walking group the importance of getting up and how I'm really going to be working at making that one of my goals, and which I can't do now because of my knee. I can't even do the steps to get to that strength level yet because of my knee. I have to heal this knee first. But one lady chimed in. She says, you know, my son was just telling me about a man that they brought into the ER where he works. The man had fallen and he didn't have the physical strength to get up. And he was down for 4 days before anybody found him. He didn't break a hip. He just fell. And even though he crawled to the couch, he couldn't get himself up. He died. He died because he'd been on the floor for 4 days. And the longer he was down, the weaker he got, the more the blood started to pool. He became weaker. He soiled himself. He hadn't eaten. He hadn't had anything to drink. And it's like, it's important to know how to get up off the floor. So that's one thing I'm working on. And that's another thing, you know, that I was sharing earlier. That's what got me started on this whole thing right now is watching some of those episodes of My 600-Pound Life. And you see these people who, if they go down, you know, they're not getting back up. If they go down, they're going to need, you have to call in the forces to bring them back up to a sitting position, because once they go down, they're done. And I'm watching these things and I'm remembering, I have a family member in my marriage, and my family member would call me and say how disheartening it was that their mother-in-law had fallen and she couldn't get up. And this is happening several times a year. She falls, she can't get up, and they call my family member to come over and help her get up off the floor. Basically couch ridden and bedridden, but if she goes down, she can't get up. She's 10 years older than me, 15 years older than me. And this has been going on for years. So she was probably my age when this started. And it had gotten to the point over the last few years that this family member says to me, we can't get her up anymore. Now when she falls, we have to call the paramedics, and the paramedics have to come, and the paramedics have to get her up. And I think this also plays into why in August I decided I needed to make a change. Because before I started this, they got the phone call. They said, hey, you know, she's in the hospital. And her husband wanted this family member to come get him and take him to the hospital to see her. She was dead. She died. And it was heartbreaking. And I thought, I don't want the last years of my life to be where my family is stressing over the fact that I've fallen and they have to call the paramedics to get me up off the floor because I'm so fat I can't do anything for myself. I don't want it to be where I keep abusing myself like that until they walk into my room and I'm dead. So I got to make these changes. My mother-in-law fell after having heart surgery, called me, and I had to go get her up into her chair. Thankfully, she was within reach of her phone, right? And I had some people say you need to get the Apple Watch, so if you fall, it can signal 911. Apple doesn't work here at the farm. People come visit me and they have an Apple phone, they get no signal. So for me to change over to an Apple phone, A, that's a lot of money, and B, it's not going to work here anyway. So even though I have my Fitbit, it's not going to let anybody know. And I've had people say, well, you just need to make sure this and this and this. When you go walking, take your walk. Oh, that's another thing. I've started using these Nordic sticks. I'll talk to you about that in a second. Always have your walking sticks when you go out for walks. This is what they tell me in my walking group. I'm not using my walking sticks when I go upstairs to take a shower. I'm not using my walking sticks when I go to put in a load of laundry. If I trip and fall, or if I slip and fall, I may not have the resources available to me to get help. I may sit for hours before somebody comes home if I don't have my phone at my hip the whole time. So it's scary. It's something I want to work on, that if I fall and I don't have like a broken hip or something, I can get back up. It was one thing that my mother was very, very, she would drill it into my head all the time. She always kept saying to me, I wish you'd stop drinking that soda pop. Wish you'd stop drinking that soda pop. Wish you'd stop drinking that soda pop. And of course, I love my carbonation. I had to have my soda pop. She says, all of these old people that break their hips and then they get pneumonia and they die, they don't fall and break their hips. That's not what happens. And my mom was a massage therapist and a nurse. She says the majority of the time, it's that their hip breaks and then they fall. And the reason that happens is because over the years, their bones with the osteoporosis and everything, they snap and then they fall. But people are like, oh, I fell and broke my hip. It's the reverse. And she says, all that soda you're drinking is just leaching the calcium from your bones. You need to stop. Of course, I still have it on occasion. Oh, that's one thing with my challenge. No soda pop. No soda pop, no alcohol, water, coffee, flavored water, no juice because of the diabetes. However, that is one caveat I've put in. I'm going to allow myself, I don't know if I'm doing it 1 day a week or 1 day a month, probably 1 day a week, a cheat day, because you can't stay so stringent for so long. Otherwise, you're going to not only fall off that wagon, you're going to do a head dive off that wagon because you can only do it for so long. We had a Hey Google thing set up around here for a while, but it kind of started, when it started listening to us and doing weird things, we unplugged it. My neighbor across the street died at home. She was diabetic, but we don't know how long she had laid there. Hopefully only, where did it go? A few minutes, but we felt awful not knowing, right? That's another thing too, is I think it's important for, in communities where your neighbors can see each other. I love that some communities have where the elderly that are by themselves have different colored cards they can put in the window, and the neighbors know to watch. That card has been green and it hasn't changed, or it hasn't changed location in 4 or 5 days. When you check on her, you know what I mean? If it's red, it signals they need help. If it's yellow, it signals they need help. If it's green, it's like, yeah, I woke up this morning, everything's good. Everybody have a great day. So Apple Watch will call 911 if she takes a fall of her horse. Perfect. I can have tea. My mom had a stroke and lost the left side of her body. I did physio with her and got her able to walk again, but her biggest fear was falling and not being able to get up. It is a fear. It's a fear I have. And matter of fact, I'll be really honest with you guys, and this has entered my brain and psyche ever since I had that fall back in February. Do you guys remember when I face planted in February chasing my truck? I forgot to put the truck in park and it started rolling away, and I thought I can chase it and successfully climb up in the truck and put it into park and keep it from killing anybody. Stupid. My husband said, it's a truck. We have insurance. You should have just let it go. He says, if you would have caught the truck and tried to pull yourself up into the truck, you would have lost your footing and you would have been pulled under the truck, and it probably would have rolled over you and killed you. Next time, if that happens, you let it go. We've got insurance. If it would have hit that other person's car, it would have taken care of it. If it runs you over and kills you, there's nothing we can do. Let the truck go. But when I was chasing it, I fell and I face planted into the frozen ground and ended up with a mild concussion. And ever since then, I've just kind of been doing weird things. I have weird thoughts and showing up to things late and early and not remembering names and all these things. Yeah, it's a wellness check. Oh, you text her and get her paper if it doesn't get picked up. See, things like that. We all need to be watching for things like that. My husband's brother, I don't know how many days he was in his little, he lived in Louisiana, and they've got like those little sharecropper shacks, the old one by the bayous. He lived in one of those. I don't know how many days he was dead. He had a heart attack and died. And nobody knew for days because nobody checked on him. And he wasn't even 60. He wasn't even 60. Good Lord. What was I talking about? Oh, my car. So I've been doing these crazy things. Well, something happened to me after that. And I started questioning my health, questioning about the family member that falls down all the time and can't get up, questioning my safety here on the farm by myself. And I started collecting the eggs in the evening when Papa Jim would come home. Because in the chicken coop, since he was 3 months old, our potbelly pig lives with the chickens. And when we got him, he was only 6 pounds. 6 or 3. Just a little tiny little pig. We rescued him. And he got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And he weighs about 200 pounds. And he's got tusks. And if I startle him, he barks at me. He has poor eyesight. Pigs have poor eyesight. And then he's got that little thing, that little shelf that hangs over his eyes, so he can't see well. And I'm fearful. It's genuine. It's an honest to God, genuine thing from my heart. I'm fearful that if I go out to collect the eggs and I fall and I can't get up, and he startles or gets curious or doesn't really comprehend what's going on, sees me as some type of threat or worse, I can't fend myself. I can't fend him off. If I can't get up and get away from a pig who's been startled or who's becoming aggressive, which he never has, but he's still an animal, I don't want Jim to come home one day and find my guts eaten out by a pig in the chicken coop. Is that rational? Probably not. Does it happen? Yeah, it does. And my son works in the hog industry. Maybe this is what's feeding into my psyche as well. A few problems that ran themselves over with their cars is awful. I missed what was going on while I was talking. Scroll up a little bit. She appreciates it after what happened to the other lady. Absolutely. I bet you she does. And I'm glad you're checking on her and keeping an eye on her, because we all need to take care of each other. My son works with hogs, thousands of them. And if a hog has a prolapse, a rectal prolapse, the other pigs will start eating that pig, and they eat them from the rectum in. Rectum damn near killed them. So my fear is, if I fall down and I can't get up, and I've got a 200-pound pig with tusks that has decided, hey, lunch, all I can eat for under $1. Jim's going to come in and he's going to find me eaten from the butt in or through the guts. And like I said, I know it's irrational. Can I block him off for a walkway? Sorry, my hips are starting to hurt. I've been sitting too long. That happened in Fairbanks years ago. Guy died out walking. Nobody knew till spring thaw. They just thought, yes, that he was a speed bump. I've heard about things like that. By the time I would get him cordoned off to get in there to get the eggs, I would cause him more stress. And if I'm trying to cordon him off and he rushes, my instinct would be to back up. And what if I fell backwards and hit my head? I mean, there's just, for me, being on the farm by myself, I just feel like I can't go there yet. So the eggs sit in the nesting boxes till Papa Jim comes home, so that there's somebody here, and I will tell him, or he'll go out with me. I'll tell him I'm going to go get the eggs. If I'm not back in 3 minutes, you need to come out. And lately, the last couple nights, he'll go to bed and he'll say, did you put the chickens away? And I'll, no, I'll put the chickens away. And then I don't put the chickens away because he's asleep and I'm afraid to go out by myself in the dark, even with a flashlight, because if I trip and fall, even if I have my phone with me, if I hit my head, I can't call him, and then I'm out there and he doesn't know because I have insomnia and he's used to me not coming to bed till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. He might not know that I need him, and if I'm unconscious, I can't get help. So my pig is 9 years old now. Life expectancy is 8. I love him dearly. I've had him since he was a baby. He used to sleep with us when he was a baby. He used to sleep with us, and he lived in the house until it was time for him to be a pig, and we put him out with the chickens. I love that little pig, and I don't want anything to happen to him, but I know at 9, he only has so much time with us. And when he passes, I will not be getting another pig. And so when he passes, there will be no more pig in the chicken coop. And I will feel more comfortable than going in there throughout the day. I can fend off a chicken, maybe a ferret, but not a pig. So I do worst case scenarios. I've always been that way. That's just how I roll. And a lot of the times my husband will say, Papa Jim will say, he believes that contributed to maybe even why I got cancer, because I stress a lot all the time. Sometimes I don't go up and shower until he's home because I don't want to come down these stairs. These stairs are so steep in these old farmhouses that I don't want to fall and be here by myself. So I'm working on getting the strength. So maybe that will lessen a little bit as time goes on and I feel better. But it used to be that on Thursdays I would mow the lawn while Jim was at work. And he got me a brand new riding lawnmower. I love it. We named it Cletus. Got Cletus, the old lawnmower out there, 0-turn John Deere. And I would mow on Thursdays while he was at work. Thursday was my lawn day. That was my John Deere therapy day. And he came home one day. He said, don't mow over here by the ditch. And we need to change your mow day. You need to mow when somebody's here. I was like, what's going on? Well, one of his customers, his wife was mowing while he was at work, and she got too close to the ditch and she rolled into the ditch, and the lawnmower landed on top of her and suffocated her and killed her. Younger than me. On this road I'm on, I might get, there's days where there's no cars that go by, let alone are they going to see me in a ditch? Are they going to see if I've hurt myself on that mower? So now I mow on a Saturday or a Sunday when Jim is here, and that way he keeps an eye to make sure that nothing detrimental has happened, because accidents happen. And if you know that they can happen, why set yourself up for it? You sound like Rand. Oh, you already said that. Get a pug. I got the 2 dogs. They're keeping me pretty busy. Although I saw another one the other day. It's like, don't bring another dog home. Don't bring another dog home. Don't do it. My 2 does came into heat 2 weeks ago. Says when I was home by myself, hubby had gone to Oklahoma for 4 days. I did not put them with the buck because I didn't want to chance having to deal with them. You have a window of opportunity, but sometimes it's better to let that window pass and be safe, because a buck can hurt you. I was watching a video on 3 health tips. 1, get to bed by 10. I was going to say 10. But then I thought realistically, because I have the podcast that I film at night, sometimes with Casey, I'm up past 10. Get sun on your face your first hour of being awake, and don't stress, because negative thoughts are more toxic than diet and exercise. Absolutely. So that's one thing I'm hoping that I'm going to make this journal, this walking journal, but it can be for an any day journal too. I'm going to be making just a general wellness, mindfulness journal in addition to the walking journal. I'm going to do a journal for kettlebell exercises. I mean, there's some good niches that I'm going to get myself into. But one of them is I want to journal, and I want to journal positivity. I want to try to get rid of the negativity. But I am that negative. Well, I don't want to say I'm a negative Nancy. It's not that I worry. I worry. My husband won't go in the attic if he's home alone. If something happens, I'd never find him, right? I'm the type of person that I will actively think about where I'm going to sit in somebody's car. If we're going to get in a car and go with somebody, I play out my scenarios in my head of where I want to sit. Oh, it's, two wives and two husbands. We're all going to go out to dinner. My sister's driving. I'll ride in front with her. But if one of the guys are driving and the ladies are in the back, if my husband's a passenger, then I have to think, do I sit behind him, and that way if there's an accident, we both get taken out? We both die? Do I sit across from him? So if it's taken out on that side, then I can still be here with my kids. They don't lose both parents. Do I trust this driver, or are they going to be the one that's going to get in a head-on collision and take out the entire driver's side? So maybe I need to sit on the passenger. I mean, I go through these scenarios all the time. Sound like your daughter's friend. I overthink everything. Unless I don't think at all and I chase trucks because I think I can catch them. I was somewhere the other day. It's like, oh, if I lean on that, that might break and I might fall to my death. I mean, I'm always thinking something. And I need to get out of that pattern. I don't know what got me into that pattern in the first place. I don't recall being that way as a teen or a young adult. Somewhere, though, something triggered to where I start thinking these ways. And I've done it for years. And it's one reason why Papa Jim keeps a lot of things from me. He keeps a lot of things from me because he knows I overthink things and I will stress. So if he has a bad day at work and I say, how was your day today? He's like, oh, it was fine. He won't tell me that X, Y, and Z happened and that he might not have a job next week because he knows I will completely freak out. So he doesn't tell me these things. I'm finding out things now in my 50s that my kids did as teenagers that he never told me about. He knew. He helped them get through certain things, or he, helped them take care of certain things. And I never knew because he knew I would completely freak out. Hypnosis videos. Play it by ear. I am a very spontaneous play it by ear person, except for the little mind monkeys that get in my brain and start telling me these little things that I need to be careful for. I'm always situation. Oh, you know what it is? I know when it started. Oh my gosh. It just dawned on me, you guys. I know when it started. I know. I'm going to cry. I know exactly when it started. It just hit me. When I was a young mother and I had my first boy, and he was about maybe 10 months old, 8, 9, 10 months old. And we lived in a town called San Jacinto. And I remember hearing on the radio these reports coming in of a active shooter at the McDonald's in San Ysidro. And I didn't know there was a town called San Ysidro. I thought they were saying San Jacinto. And I was trying to piece it together because the McDonald's, we only had one McDonald's, and it was in the adjacent neighborhood that was called Hemet. And I thought, why are they saying San Jacinto? And they kept saying it. And they were giving details about this active shooter. And it was the first one I ever remember hearing about. This, we hear about them all the time now. This was the very first one. I think it really was our very first one in the nation, if not at least in the state of California where I was. And you start hearing the stories coming in about what people had to do to protect their children. And this person didn't make it, and this person didn't make it, and this person was trapped, and this person couldn't get out the door, and this person was hunkered down in the bathroom. And I started becoming situationally aware and started thinking, where would I sit? What would I do? How would I protect my child? Because he was just a baby. Babies, children didn't make it out. What am I going to do? And so I start playing these scenarios in my head. And I remember from then on, like if I would go in the bathroom, I would navigate and take in everything in the bathroom. Like if I'm in this stall and a shooter comes in, I can get on the toilet, I can get on this partition wall, and I can get up through that panel in the ceiling. I started doing that realistically. Even then, at my, 120 pounds, I'm sure that ceiling wouldn't have held me. Oh, yes. I don't move anything that I know I shouldn't. If Anastasia can't move, we wait until her dad and mom get home from work. Yes. Yeah, I've had a breakthrough. I know that's when it started. My son is very situationally aware, not only because he was in the Army, but before he went in the Army, he had taken his two little brothers out to lunch at a little hamburger place. And he bought them lunch. He was being the good big brother. I think he had turned 18, taking his little brothers to lunch, having some good time together. And he said to the brothers, he says, I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom. He's standing at the urinal and somebody else walked into the bathroom. And before he even knew what happened, this man had a knife to his throat. High on meth, high as a kite, and thinking that my son is somebody else who had wronged him. And so my son's just standing there. He had to cut off in the middle of his business at the urinal and have his hands up. And he's trying to talk this guy out of his frenzy and to keep him from slitting his throat. The next sundown says, I got to pee too. He walks into the bathroom and he sees his brother standing there with a knife to his throat. And he froze. Have you ever seen people that are so terrified they freeze and they can't do anything? He froze. And he still has guilt over that because he says, I didn't do anything to help my brother. It's understandable. He froze. And then the littlest one, he's sitting out there at the table by himself and he has no idea what's going on. And my son was able to talk this guy down and understand that he's not who he was looking for. The guy just took the knife down from his throat and walked out. Walked right past my other son who's standing there frozen at the door and left. And luckily, he walked right over to the next little fast food place and started his havoc over there. And they were able to call authorities and he was picked up and arrested. But that son is extremely situationally aware. He knows where his exit routes are. He knows, he's always aware. My husband's always aware. Anytime we go out to eat, we sit so that he can always see the door. So he knows what's coming in even before I do. If I'm at the door and he doesn't know what's coming, that's half the battle. He's always situationally aware. But for me, it all started with that situation at McDonald's in San Ysidro, California, which would have been around 1984. And I am always that way. I've always got to look for myself. I've even done it since I've joined this health club, this wellness center. I know where my things are. God, don't get me on a plane. I know I'm going to have to crawl over this person, that person, and that person to fall to my death as I try to go down the slide to get out of a plane. I know you guys are going to think I'm crazy, and it's part of why I tell my stories, because I am, a little crazy. I choose my clothing when I get on the plane. Bye, Gwen. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a good day. I have to get things done too, because I still have to go pick up my eyeglasses. I got to get some exercise in. But anyways, God, what was I saying? Oh, I was planning a trip to go visit with my kids this last year. And I had spent time sewing on this beautiful, almost like a kimono, flowy top, really pretty. And it had a hole in it. And I wanted to repair it. So I took I crocheted a little thread medallion, like a mandala doily. And I sewed it over the hole. So it looks very boho chic. That's perfect. I'm putting it on. I'm trying it on, seeing how it's going to fit. And then it dawns on me. This material is like a nylon rayon material. If the plane goes down and there's fire, this is going to melt into my skin. And I could have survived the plane crash, but now I'm a burn victim with burns over 70% of my body. and I changed out the shirt. I did not wear the shirt because I get into that. And the reason I think that way is because my mom and dad were on the flight path in Sioux City, Iowa, the year that plane came in and the landing gear didn't come down, 747 or something. You're situationally aware. You grew up reading spy thrillers. Maybe I can blame this on Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, or maybe I can blame it on Scooby-Doo and the kids. I don't know. But there's video footage of that plane coming down without the landing gear. It's not that the landing gear didn't come down. It like fell off while they were putting it down. I don't know. It lands, and just when it lands, the one wing tips, and it just rolls into this cartwheel of flames. People were thrown from the plane. They were walking out of cornfields. People were just... And my mom, who was a nurse, like I said, a lot of the trauma was sent to those area hospitals. And she said one of the worst things that they were dealing with were the women and the stewardesses that wear pantyhose because the nylon melted into their skin because of the fire. You will not catch me wearing nylons or anything nylon on a plane because I can't do it. It gets into my brain. So anyways, I'm going to work on that. I might look for some of those hypnotic things there, Rochelle. But I think with the positive journaling, getting better sleep, becoming better mentally and physically, as long as I don't read any books that are going to set me up for those types of things, I think it'll be a good path to start going down. So that's what I've got going on. I'm going to try to put out a few videos over here in the next couple weeks or so. I've got some real fun things to share with you. I'm going to work on my books. Check I will start sharing my Amazon store for some pics of different things. Like, what's in my Amazon store is that really pretty vintage little turkey roaster. I mean, just little things that you see in my kitchen, things that you see in my videos. If it's something I've tried, something I like. My Nordic walking sticks. I told you guys, I'm working on that video right now to show you guys my Nordic walking sticks. My son made fun of me. He goes, you're going to be like one of those little ladies in the park walking, aren't you? I was like, no. And now I get my sticks and I'm like, like this as I walk through the park. It works your shoulders, your biceps, triceps, deltoids. It works everything upper body while you're working. You're not just swinging your arms. You are working. It is great. So anyways, guys, we're at the 2-hour mark. I thank you so much for joining me for coffee this morning. I'm going to get up. I'm going to get my workout clothes on. I'm going to go pick up my new glasses, do a couple of errands, and then I might go to the wellness center and get some walking in and my kettlebell routine, or I might hold out and put in a swim class today. We'll see. You're going to host any bread recipe collab, not sourdough, no machines, easy. I've got a video up on my only bread recipe I use. And right now I can't have bread. And right now I truly am trying to stay away from collabs because I noticed at a certain point in my YouTube history, I started getting stressed over timelines. I'm getting stressed over timelines. I don't like it when I have to have something turned in. It stresses me out. But maybe we'll see. I love, if anybody wants it, it's not like you're talking just to me, huh? I do love my bread recipe. Maybe I'll throw one out there. We'll see. So, yeah, it's hard. That fresh bread, that artisan bread that I make when it comes out of the oven. Oh, I want nothing more than to cut off a nice warm slab of it, slather some butter on it, and enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Well, maybe, you know what I can do is I could take my bread video and I'll just hashtag it. How's that? And I'll set it up for a new release date. And that way it can release with the hashtag and it'll be part of the collab. Because I'm smart that way. And that way I don't have to bake anything and I don't have to be tempted to eat it. So can you guys see a difference? Am I starting to slim up just a little bit? You know what's really bad before I leave? What's one of the worst things about losing this weight, if there is a worst thing, is when I carry all that weight in my face, everything's like roly-poly. And now that I'm losing weight, look at this. Look at this. I'm getting me a waddle. Look at that. There's no fat there to hold that skin anymore. Getting me a waddle. You can see that I'm losing weight, or you can see that I got a waddle. So that's been one of the negatives, is like, oh, what am I going to do with this? And then all of that tummy that the cortisol has been hiding out in, is that I'm noticing it. The more weight I'm losing, the more it's starting to hang. And I'm doing rebounding to try to help with some of the skin issues. But I also am in cahoots. I'm keeping my doctor abreast of my skin situations because of the major surgeries I've had. And now I've got this skin issue. I'll see about getting a skin removal once I lose some more weight, for health issues, not for vanity issues. Because being diabetic, if I get an infection from where my surgery scars are and that skin's on it, it can cause an issue for me. So I'm going to see about getting that taken care of. You can see both. Waddle. All right, friends. Thank you for joining me. Watch for a couple videos to pop here and there. Take the Friends Trivia Quiz. And I will start keeping you guys updated on how this new challenge, this new 75-day challenge is going. And watch for my Amazon store. I'm going to start posting little things about my Amazon store soon, so you guys can see things. And hopefully I'll let you guys know when my little cookbooks drop. So I don't owe anyone an explanation. Oh, well, yep. No-nos on a plane. Yeah, no nylons on a plane. So, all right, friends. Thank you. I keep saying goodbye. It's one of those Midwestern things. It can take forever, but I'm going to say goodbye now. Thank you, guys. I love you guys. I love you for your friendship and for being here with me today and all of the positivity. And maybe throughout the winter, I'll get back into having some coffee time chats in the middle of the week. So until I see you again, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a blessed day, and I will see you next time here on the channel. Bye-bye. I'm gonna put end video before I even read any comments, because then I'll just keep talking. End stream. Bye, guys.